Alright, so here I'm going to be doing a little broadcast of the game of Simply Two-Based versus Black and Yellow. So I started a little after the drafting started, but starting now and going forward, I'm going to be talking about the draft, moving forward into the game, and kind of going from there. At this point in the meta, all of the meta heroes have kind of shaped out. Like, none of these picks are super surprising. Like Bane, first pick, first pick banned every time. Same with most of these heroes. But let's kind of like look down at Black and Yellow's lineup right now. So with the OD, you have a inherent save with the OD. He is super busted with the Meteor Hammer. Like OD getting Meteor Hammer forces enemies to play together, because if you get caught out solo by an OD, you're just outright dead, right? So OD, provides safe, provides good DPS, and in some ways provides good initiation too. The Ogre is great disable, even though it isn't an instant cast. If the spell is cast, it is guaranteed to hit because there isn't like a projectile associated with it, and Lion's a really good instant disabler. But right now, down the dire side, I'm not really seeing a hero with good reach. So if an enemy, gets away, how are they going to deal with that? Are they going to get a blink dagger on OD? A blink dagger on, line is also an option, but I think they're missing a little bit of reach, and also perhaps a hero that can hit towers, like a real good objective taker. I'm thinking like a Drow, like a Leshrac, or maybe a Juggernaut. Here that can literally walk high ground, just sit there and like force the enemy to engage. Going up to the top draft, Bane, BKB, piercing disable, just one of the best disablers in general in the game. But I mean, zero wave clear. Bane's one of those heroes that does a lot really, really well, but nothing in the realm of like the kind of the jobs that he can't perform. But the Radiant draft is definitely made up for that with getting pick up the Puck, the Viper, the Monkey King. They have all the wave clear they need with these three heroes alone. But however, I do think that the Radiant, Simply Two-Based, is missing a kind of like a beefy hero. I think, in my opinion, perhaps a Mars would be good here. Maybe like an Underlord, even though Underlords aren't super, popular right now. I think the Radiant kind of needs a hero that could like get in and take a lot of damage. I also think that Simply Two-Base is missing a little bit of disable. Like, yeah, they have Dream Coil, but that's not like a true disable. It's like a leash, right? There's Bane, but Bane's very single target, right? Maybe some kind of like AoE disable, or just more AoE control. That's why I was thinking the Mars might be really, really good here. It looks like the Mars is still available, so I'd be interested to see if Simply Two-Based picks up the Mars. Going down to the draft it for Black and Yellow, they have, instant disable. They have reach if they get like the blink on OD or Lion. But they didn't have any BKB piercing disable, so the Legion Commander does give them that. It gives them a tower hit because Legion is pretty good just walking up high ground, just like hitting towers, especially if he has good supports behind, especially if one of the supports can buy like a Medallion of Courage or something, kind of buff up the Legion. And she also like heal herself and whatnot. And also Legion gives them an additional save. So now this Bane is kind of rendered worthless up here for the lineup of Simply Two-Based, because the Bane's going to sleep one, Fiend's Grip the other, right? Now they have two answers to in theory, kind of four, answers, because Ogre can, stun the Bane, Lion can blink stun the Bane. However, let's say Bane does a smart thing and buys the BKB to ensure that Fiend's Grip gets off. Now there's OD, possibly with a blink in, Astral with the Fiend's Grip, no problem. Legion Commander, hard purge, or not purge, but dispel, a hard dispel to just completely remove the Fiend's Grip. This Bane is gonna have to play very, very tactfully, so he's gonna have to basically hold that until he sees these big ticket items used to where he knows he can get that Fiend's Grip off, or understand that yes, my Fiend's Grip is going to get instantly purged off or removed in one way or another, but is perhaps a 1 or 2 second Fiend's Grip good enough to secure a high value kill before it can be purged off? So looking up here for the Radiant, definitely looking for kind of a tank here, and going down to the Dire. Look at the recent bans with the Ursa ban. Actually, wait. Rewind. Looking back up at the Radiant, I'm kind of surprised that
10 seconds remaining.
the Terrorblade. Actually, no, I lied. I do like both their bans with the Naga and the Terrorblade. I think they have pretty good illusion clear. Actually, I'm not sure why they banned out Naga and Terrorblade. I feel like their lineup, every single one of their heroes is pretty good at like dealing with those heroes, but nonetheless, looks like we're going to be seeing our final picks here in just a second. Simply TOOBASED, still with a minute on their reserve time, so they have plenty of time to really think about what they want here. I would not be surprised to see like a Mars. Again, I'm really liking the Mars here, but some kind of just like beefcake with a disable, I think, is what they really need. Like a beefcake with a stun of some sort. And going and looking down at the bottom, I'd say perhaps some kind of AoE ability. Like I feel like in the bottom they're missing like area damage, area control. But obviously, like, I'm not in, the room with these guys. I'm not really sure, like, the plan that they're kind of developing in their heads. And we see a Templar Assassin. Very, very interesting. So looking up at the Radiant lineup, and there's the PL. So, honestly, I'm not surprised to see the PL because Radiant banning out that Naga, banning out the Terrorblade. PL is probably the next best thing, right? But looking down at the bottom, Black and Yellow is missing really any kind of area control, area damage. And looking up top, even though a lot of these heroes are rather slippery with Puck, TA to some degree, with the refraction charges able to basically like tank hits for her to get a blink dagger off, and obviously Monkey King, very slippery heroes. But I'm curious to see what items they're going to build to kind of compensate for that kind of their lack of a hero that's just going to go in and like get stuff started. I mean, looking at their heroes, the only hero that would really want to do that is the Viper. So perhaps on the Viper, they're going to get like Guardian Greaves, Pipe of Insight, maybe like an Atos. Things really beef them up to kind of fill that role. Otherwise, it could be kind of their downfall here. But yeah, I think both these drafts hit a lot of the jobs that you kind of need in a good draft. And, I think it's a little too early for me to really speak to the cohesive synergy, but let's see how it plays out. We got Team Black and Yellow versus Simply TOOBASED and the classic pause. You can't have a game of Dota without a pause at the beginning. So let's look at some of the items here. So Monkey King is going for, it looks like. I only see one hero for Radiant getting a Quelling Blade. So I'm not quite sure what the roles are going to be. If I had to guess, it looks like it might be a TA safe lane with a Puck mid. Puck looks like he's reserving some gold to buy the bottle. Viper is, obviously getting mangoes because, like, the biggest boon to having a Viper in lane is just the harassment and, like, just the nature of his poison attacks forcing reactions. But, like, the biggest downside to Viper is that he has absolutely no mana pool at all. So it's very common to see a lot of mangoes purchased on to kind of, like, make up for that, compensate for that. Going up top, obviously we're going to see OD mid. I mean, I'm not super familiar with, like, mid matchups, but I'm pretty sure this is kind of one of those, like, kind of boring mid matchups where there's not going to be too much action one-on-one. And it also might be very difficult to gank mid because like how do you gank how do you gank a puck? But Odie mid, Phantom Lancer safe lane, Legion's going off lane, and then we have Ogre and Lion as the supports. It looks like Lion's going to be playing the 5, Ogre the 4, which I like. I think these roles could have been reversed. Looks like we might have some action going on. Both teams are smoked up. We do some action. Oh, Lion with a 3-man Earth Spike, completely saving himself from any kind of, risk of death there. The Dire did see that ward get planted.
30 seconds to battle.
Or is it the Radiant? That's odd. One of the teams saw the other team war, so that's going to be free gold for whichever support's going to buy that sentry to de-ward that. This Monkey 4 is going to give the Radiant a lot of vision to kind of scout around, see what's up, identify the positions of the enemy, and give them the vision that they need. And perhaps that is enough to make up for the fact they don't really have a hero on their team that's going to be able to take a lot of damage. Because, I'm looking at this Legion Commander, and I'm thinking to myself, if Legion Commander blinks and duels someone, the only real answer to that, truly the only real answer to that, is 1, blowing them up, or 2, Fiend's Grip. And I think if the Radiant's good about dealing with the Fiend's Grip, I don't really see an answer to this Legion. Legion might have a very, very good game. So we do see Bane as a 4? No. Bane's just starting the game up here. But Bane, I'm fairly certain, is playing the 5. We have some peak Dota gameplay right here. Ogre and Monkey are doing some trades, and Ogre not being afraid to just take easy trades with Monkey King. I mean, Ogre would not be able to trade with Monkey whatsoever if Monkey would have gone Jingu first, but since he did get Balance Strike first, Ogre says no problem, just tossing his Ignite and just walking at this Monkey King and whacking him down with his club. Not a problem. I'm going to be curious to see when Bane decides to rotate back bottom. And I'm also very surprised to see Bane not have a sentry. Let's say the Lion or the Ogre decide to plant a sentry on this camp. That's basically going to be a free block for potentially the first 2 creep wave spawns, just by nature of Bane not having a sentry to address this. This Lion was completely caught out of position, but I'm kind of surprised. Are they going to get this kill? I sure hope they do. Wow. So Lion was Fiend's Grip right here. Viper was right here. I feel like if Viper just would have moved a little bit, moved on top of the Lion, that would have given them, the 2 auto attacks they needed to kill the Lion. Perhaps a misplay by the Viper. It was one of those things where, do you get the kill, or do you take a lot of damage from the creeps? And in my opinion, playing as a Viper, you may as well get the first blood, because that first blood's going to be a really big deal. And I'm talking about the Bane going bottom, the Bane being the 5, but it looks like it is going to be a tri-lane in the top lane. So it looks like most of the action is going to be going on up here, which I'm surprised by. I have not seen a tri-lane in competitive play in a hot minute. I imagine whatever is going on down here is going to be pretty stagnant. I think Legion is going to be able to trade well with the TA, but TA is ranged. So we're going to be focusing most of our attention up here, because tri-lanes are really, really interesting, because if you're a tri-lane against a dual lane, the entire purpose of that is completely shut down the off-laner, because as a tri-lane, the experience in that lane is going to be stretched very, very thin between those 3 heroes. However, the nice thing about the tri-lane is that one support can run back and forth here, kind of block entry into the jungle. The other support can just, stack pull, and just deny every other creep wave. Meanwhile, the carry, sits there and just free farms, essentially. But by nature of it being a tri-lane versus a tri-lane, this goes back to like I feel like the 2015, 2016 meta where like there was always tri lanes. I mean, traditionally in tri lanes it's gonna be super action packed. Now the really nice thing about this Phantom Lancer is that yeah, sure, Viper gets 4 stacks on, but you can just purge them all off really fast. However, at these low levels, and especially since PL is going to be maxing Phantom Rush most likely, that's a very long cooldown. So perhaps they bait PL to use the Doppelganger really early, and then they start stacking up the poison stacks to get the kill. And looking at a level, but now that Monkey's level 2, I can't imagine a world. Okay, he does go Jingu. I was gonna say I can't imagine a world where this man doesn't go Jingu because Jingu's gonna let him completely shut down this ogre out of the jungle. Like, where is Lion now? Okay, so Lion did go bottom, so there's no more trialing going on, and Bane also rotated down here. But now this kind of a pickle because this Monkey King is gonna be able to completely take over the jungle because this ogre is not going to be able to exist in the jungle now that that lion's there. There is almost a kill on Legion Commander, surprisingly, and she has no regen, so she has no choice but to kind of sit back and like not even go for these last hits. Like, yeah, she's in experience range, but this is not a position you want to be in. Honestly, if I was this Legion Commander, I would just dump to heal myself to try and get in there and get a last hit. Like, she's using creep aggro to pull a creep back to get the last hit, and they do have the creep advantage, so they can play more aggressively. But Bane is just gonna get that stack off. If Bane's good, he's gonna hit that creep, Okay. You know, I can't blame him. Like, that was gonna be really tight timing. So Bane pulled the hard camp. And I think he also got a stack with it, and Lion shut it down by basically walking over here and intercepting the wave. If Bane could have auto-attacked one of those creeps and drew it back out, the creeps would have re-aggroed onto the creep camp, and the pull would have gone through. But thankfully, Lion was there to kind of like preserve the lane equilibrium as well as he could have. We do have a first blood on the ogre, and it's kind of what I was, going back to what I was saying. Like, ogre cannot have a game in the jungle anymore now that Monkey King is 2 with Jingu, and Viper got boots. So, I mean, boom, great timing. You get boots, you just walk in the ogre, and he's dead. There's nothing that he can do. Like, no escape whatsoever. And they almost kill the PL, but ogre's there with the salve to give him some love. I'm very curious to see, like, what is ogre going to do here? Like, I would hate to be ogre. Like, this is a I would hate this, a horrible game for this ogre. He does get to pull off very good use of creep aggro. So even though the Monkey King was here whacking these creeps, by nature of ogre right-clicking the Monkey King and abusing creep aggro, it forced the creep wave to attack ogre long enough for him to walk out enough to get an auto attack next to the creep wave, which then pulled it in. Let's look at what's going on mid. So it looks like OD is kind of dumpstering Puck, which I'm not totally surprised by because Astral is such a great way to deny your lane opponent from getting any kind of last hits whatsoever. So, and Puck had to go back to base, and with 32 last hits, 8 denies, this is going very well for OD. And in this case, if you're playing the Puck, what do? So you kind of have two options at this point. You either leave the lane, go gank, because like your lane is lost, you're not recovering. Maybe perhaps you could go play hyper aggressive and gank other lanes, make chaos around the map, and force the other mid to respond to your movements. So there's that, or perhaps you're playing a hero that has a big power spike at a certain level, like a level 6 power spike. So even though you're getting kind of dumpstered early on, as soon as you hit that level 6 power spike, you can then kind of stand your force, whether that be like a level 6 ability and a specific item. But we should definitely keep an eye on this Puck to see kind of what route he goes for, whether that he's going to try and like use his Dream Coil and kind of play away from the OD, or really play into the OD. And I imagine he's going to try and play away from the OD, or I guess just leverage his great wave clear, push out the wave, and just farm, away from the OD. So, however, beyond excuse me, beyond this OD having a good game, it looks like the Radiance is doing really, really well in every other lane. This TA is completely dumpstering this Legion. However, this Legion has picked up that Helm of Iron Will, and that might be one of those items that's going to enable this Legion commander to stay in the lane against the TA and like stand his ground, right? But I mean, 51 last hits to 8 denies compared to 31. Like, I'm not sure if that dumpsterage like happened or started before or after the supports rotated down here, but I'm really surprised by that. I would have imagined that they would have been able to trade better if I'm being honest. Wow, that TA doing the bunny hop over the creeps, trying to get aggressive on the Legion commander, but taking a lot of damage in the duel. Do they have enough damage to get the kill? It looks like, okay, so it looks like no duel damage, but they do get the kill. Wow. Big misplay by the Templar Assassin. I guess she didn't see the line back there, and that enabled Legion Commander and the Lion to get the dual kill on the Templar Assassin. So Legion Commander's gonna have a moment to have some free farm to get his farm caught back up a bit. Going back to the top lane, it looks like, I'd say Dragonlance is pretty standard, but Dragonlance is an item that ranged heroes purchase to kind of bulk up and get tanky. And I'm not surprised to see this Viper kind of playing into this archetype of like being that beefy hero, just kind of like sit there and take damage. And also with this Dragonlance, it's also going to give them a very, very good tower hitter. So this Viper's going to be able to sit outside of the range of the tower and auto-attack the tower without the tower hitting back, and that's going to force the Dire to initiate on them. Because, like, even if they start pushing high ground, Monkey King can hop up here, give vision of this tower, and Viper can sit on the low ground and siege his tower until the Dire is forced to initiate on them. Now, it looks like Viper and PL have been pretty close on farm this entire time. I think Viper was a little bit more ahead of PL not that long ago, but now that PL's able to just go back to the jungle, he's definitely going to be able to like catch up on farm at this point. But I agree that this PL can't really exist in the lane at this point, so I'm really looking to see if this Viper is going to like walk behind this tower and start like acid dumping or nether toxining the creep wave to really try and push this wave aggressively. And there he goes behind the creep wave. He doesn't have nether toxin skilled yet. He's gonna try and pull it. I think he was trying to pull it into the creep wave to help him take down the dire creep wave faster, but just giving his creeps as much uptime on this tower as possible. And look at this. So it looks like Radiant's having a grand old time taking control of top, but in response, Dire's down here taking good control of bottom. And OD has finished the Meteor Hammer. So OD's going to be able to push aggressively. And yeah, looks like there are going to be TP responses to this. Can they get any kills? This Legion's dead. There's no way. Yep, there's the Fiends group committed. They might even get, a great coil in the Monkey King ult. They have one more slow disable. Yep, there's the gosh, I wanted to say like staff bash, but the boundless strike on the monkey to keep him in that ult a little bit longer to get the kill. Ogre's level 4. He's having a rough time. He kind of got bullied, upstairs by the Monkey King just by nature of the heroes, but he's mid taking some farm, trying to hit his 6. It's probably better for Ogre to play the position 5 because by nature 4s are going to get more experience than 5s. So if you had to pick between the two heroes as far as like which one you're throwing in the 4/the 5, if you have a big ultimate that you want to get online as fast as possible, so obviously Lion Finger, I'm thinking like Ancient Apparition Blast, like throw them in the 4 because you're trying to get that ult up and like rolling as soon as possible. With Ogre, he has Bloodlust, so like if he's level 5, okay, and when he hits 6, yeah, he can multicast, but like is that like going to like enable your team to fight? Not really. So now that the laning phase is kind of dissolved, let's go over here and look at the hero net worth.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Wow, so even despite the Dire kind of taking over bottom there, the Radiant does have a very, very sizable net worth lead at this point. Excuse me really fast. I'll give you a perspective of the puck here.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
A prize.
And we're back. We're live. So going back to the game. So Radiant is pushing forward even more. They had a 1K net worth lead. They now have a 2K net worth lead, and all three of the Radiant cores currently have higher net worth than the Dire. So Dota is obviously like a game that's all about momentum, and the Radiant have the momentum right now with the kill lead, with the net worth lead. There's a Fiend's Grip on the OD, but then there's the stun. They have the stuns and disables to deal with the Fiend's Grip. However, they are still having to retreat. There is the Legion Commander Purge to save the Lion there. It looks like they're retreating, but it looks like they might want to try and re-engage here. They're moving collectively as a team. The Radiant does not know they're there, so if they could perhaps sweep around and get a jump on one of these heroes that doesn't have an easy way to get out, like perhaps the Viper or the Bane, they could be able to get a kill. And there's a smoke. However, OD instantly breaks the smoke, so it looks like they're not on the same page here. And the Monkey King had vision the entire time. The Monkey probably saw the smoke despite the OD having no interest in with the smoke play at all, and that is a waste of a smoke. Like, smokes are a finite resource. Do not be mistaken about that, and that's a big loss. And this Lion's just dead. The Lion was smoked even. The Lion's just dead, and this is looking very, very, very grim for the Radiant. And look it over here to the Dire. The Viper has a Dragon Lance, so the Viper can now sit outside the tower range, just hit and barrage towers, and force the Dire initiation onto him, but he's also the same hero that's building tanky, so they're going to initiate on the Viper, but the Viper is going to be tanky and probably be able to absorb the initiation, especially with the save with like Bane and whatnot. That looks like the Dire has all the tools that they need to potentially end the game. One thing that I think the Dire is kind of missing out on a little bit is like Roche hitting power, but as soon as TA finishes her death, so that's not going to be a problem anymore with the Meld and the Desolator minus armor. And kind of like what I said earlier, the Monkey King's just hopping around everywhere, giving the Radiant all the vision they need, like all the vision in the world that they need to continue to make these aggressive plays around the map. And like, look at where the Radiant is positioning. One moment, gotta invert this. Look at where the Radiant is positioning. So the Dire are the actual arrows in the map, and the Radiant are like the little circular things. But like, look at where the Radiant are positioning themselves. They're all on the other side of the river, kind of collapsing and pushing and constricting the map away from the Dire, constricting the Dire away from the farm that they want. They have Monkey King jumping ahead deep, giving vision for the heroes, like especially these like assassin, like get on top of you and kill you really fast heroes like this Puck. Look at this. They see the Lion, and the Lion can't get out with the Monkey King there. I think the boon of the Radiant lineup is how fast they're able to come online. With Templar Assassin, all you need is really just that Desolator, and all of a sudden, boom, you are a menace to fight against. with this Phantom Lancer,
Dire's top tower
you
is
really need
under
like 3
attack.
items. You need the Diffusal Blade, you need the S&Y/Manta, and you need like a heart before you can really come online and start fighting. Especially in a hero that has good ways to deal with your illusions.
Dire's top tower
However,
is falling. Radiant structures
I
are
am kind of
fortified.
disappointed with this Legion. I feel like
Dire's middle
Legion
tower is
probably needed
under
to get a
attack.
Blink Dagger because they need ways to like start, like, what if they could get a good fight, they need to take a good fight, but they don't really have good initiation outside of this Legion with the Blink Dagger. So that's why I'm kind of disappointed seeing this Legion get the armlet before that. And they have no disable for this Fiend's Grip, so the Legion is dead now, and that's less net worth for the Legion, who's now further off in the Blink Dagger. And now the Radiant is going to walk over and go Roche, and the Dire has absolutely no response to the Roche at this point. Zilch. This is the freest Roche I've ever seen in my life. However, I will commend the Dire for having good wars. They have good aggressive vision, which, you know, is giving them good information on the map. But like, if the Radiant is just existing on their side of the map, then like, what good is this deep jungle war doing unless you're down here pushing, which I guess they are. So that, you know, that is where they're getting their value from it. But now with the Radiant having Aegis on the TA, I think Viper or TA could have been good picks here. TA having the most net worth, I guess it makes sense. And TA is really now kind of a tower hitter. Like, I'm pretty sure she has to be like in range of the tower to hit it, but with that Desolator now, she's going to be up there in personal and, you know, chunking away at those towers. And I guess Dire's content playing down here. They did get a good kill on the Monkey King, but it's just the Monkey King 4. However, the Dire did get the tier 2 bottom, so they're going to be able to take this shrine. And the Dire have really collectively taken control of this bottom half of the map. And in response to that, the Radiant hasn't even taken the tier 1 bottom yet. But while the Dire, I mean, I guess the Dire and Radiant have like literally switched sides of the map at this point. Like, the Dire are kind of trapped down here now because the Radiant having the momentum and having the answers to like get objectives done. Honestly, I'm surprised that they're down here. Like, I would have almost liked to have seen the Radiant just literally like walk high ground, like force the Dire to come back. I'm kind of surprised that they decided to come back to kind of quell this, but I guess by nature of them kind of like retaking their jungle, now they could move over here. I assume take the tier 1 tower, potentially contest the tier 2, but like once the Dire team is here, they move to the triangle, boom, take over the triangle, then move the jungle, and boom, take over the jungle. Now all of a sudden they have complete control of the map again. But that's just, you know, hearsay. Let's see how the Radiant actually chooses to take care of this. They have all the tools they need. Like, they have the Viper who can sit outside of tower range and barrage towers, you know, uncontested. They have ways to force the initiation from the Dire. They now have a TA with Desolator Dragonlance. So I would really like to see them getting in position to get this tower down. It does look like the Radiant might be trying to get in a position to get this top tier 1. They've already taken over the jungle. But yeah, the Radiant are securing all that juicy farm that the Dire would want, and the Dire just continue to get, you know, are continuing to just get strangled and strangled more and more and more, like just getting all their farm just stripped away from them on the map. In response to this, the Dire is making a transition into their jungle to try and secure a little bit of farm for themselves. And the Puck's being hyper aggressive, but the Dire just does not have the answers for this Puck. They need a Blink Dagger on this Legion, which they do have now, but without a Blink Duel, I don't think there is a disable long enough on their team for them to burst down this Puck. And if they do get a duel on the Puck and commit everything on the Puck, they're not going to have any other resources to kind of close out the team fight.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Puck now has significantly more net worth than the OD, despite
Is under attack.
the OD definitely winning the lane. And here we go. More top end Dota gameplay in the form of a pause. I tell you what. You cannot have a competitive game of Dota without a few pauses just sprinkled in there.
Dire's middle tower has fallen.
And there's the initiation. Do they have enough to take down this Templar Assassin? The Templar Assassin does have the Aegis, and the Templar Assassin does even lose 1 life, and the Legion Commander is dead, and there's even follow-up for the Ogre. The Ogre's dead too. That was not the best fight to take by the Radiant. And honestly, like, how could they have known that Dire has no vision of the triangle? And Puck hadn't showed yet, so, like, perhaps if Puck had showed up here, it would have made sense for them to make that aggressive play, but as far as they knew, they were just fighting 5v5 into, like, high ground, basically. Not really, like, not necessarily base high ground, but just they had to move up this high ground to take this fight, like, in, like, a choke point. You know, and I think that the Dire are really starting to realize, like, they have to start making, like, all or nothing moves to keep themselves in this game.
It's for you. It's the base, please.
It looks like the Radiant are having issues with the Discord, it seems. It looks like they're demanding some action to be taken. But all in all, like, obviously the Radiant is winning. They have good control of this game, but I'm honestly kind of surprised that they're not being more objective oriented. They seem to be happy, like, taking these fights and taking these good fights. But one thing about Dota you have to realize is, as soon as you're kind of, you know, ahead on net worth, the timer's now on you to end the game, right? And, like, the longer the game lasts, after you have a sizable net worth lead,
Dire's bottom tower
that's,
is
you know,
under attack.
the longer the other team has a chance to get the tools they need to come back, right? And I'm not going to go as far to say the Dire's playing slow pace or anything, but I mean, I'd say even 2 to 3 minutes ago, they could have had the position 5, like, maybe not the Bane, but, like, the fucking, like MK or even the Viper to sweep down here, pick up the creep wave here, and just shove it into this tier 1. Because I feel like both these towers were taken 2 to 3 minutes too late. And the age is just expired now. So now
Dire's bottom tower has fallen.
they got the tier 2. High ground would be the next objective, but now they can't really take high ground because the age is expired. And kind of what I was saying earlier, if they had swung
Dire's
one hero
bottom
down here to
tower
push
is
in this
under
wave
attack.
2 to 3 minutes earlier, you know, taking this tier 2 tower 2 to 3 minutes earlier, they would now have 2 to 3 minutes to aggressively push this high ground. And now they said that they had to sit back, just stall, and wait for Roche to come back up. It looks like it's not going to be a problem because it looks like the Dire are playing pretty split up at this point. One thing that I've personally noticed watching, like, high-end Dota is that when you are down as a team,
Money changes.
you know, the team that's down has to, like, play together because, you know, the only way for you to take favorable fights is for you to play together and, like, you know, take fights that are advantageous for you. Like, if you see one hero showing in the top lane and you see, you know, 2 in the bottom, like, smoking is going and fighting, like, 5v4, 5v3, like, forcing fights where you have numbers, because that's the only way you're really going to be able to come back here. We're definitely going to have quite a sizable lull here in the game because the Dire most likely has absolutely no interest in pushing high ground. until, or excuse me, the Radiant has no interest in pushing high ground until they have the Aegis again. And it looks like we have quite a while until our friend Roshan is back up.
It's for you. It's the Beast Police.
So we're going to continue to see the Radiant just kind of, you know, pushing the waves and constrict the Dire as much as possible. Now, I am glad to see that the Dire is pushing their advantage, because I feel like the Dire does have the tools to come back. Like, they have the tools as a composition to win the game if they're given enough time to make those comebacks. It was I guess a 1 for 2 for, you know, 5 for the PL, so probably not great. PL did buy out, so he no longer has buyback. He bought the Reaver, so it looks like they're giving up, and that's DD on the Templar Assassin. It looks like they're giving up the set of racks potentially for PL to buy out that Reaver. And like I said, this PL really needs that heart to be able to fight. And that's probably one of the boons of the Radiant draft that I didn't really take into account. You know, I kept on thinking about, like, roles, like what roles are heroes, you know, playing in that team composition. But one thing that I didn't really take into consideration was more macro level timings. On the macro level, the Radiant's heroes just come online faster compared to the Dire, because with the Dire, like, Legion Commander needs, like, a blink in one item before we can do anything. The Phantom Lancer needs, you know, Diffusal, Mantis Slash, S&Y, Heart before you could do anything. And yeah, like, now that 2 of their cores were kind of set back, and they didn't have time, they weren't given the space to kind of get those items to be ready to fight. Now we're seeing kind of, you know, the result of that as far as, like, the Radiant really pushing in and taking over the game here. I'm really expecting the Radiant to play hyper aggressive here. I really hope that they are, because honestly, like, they have all the tools they need. They have BKB on TA, they have Desolator, Dragonlance, like, they have a Viper with a BKB. Like, there's no reason for them to not, like, just like I said, just what I said at the start of the game. I've been pointing out that exact tree too. The Monkey King sitting up here, giving them the vision of this tower, so they can just barrage it for free.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Another issue with the Dire lineup that I'm seeing is that their initiations are rather televised. It's kind of past the point in the game where, like, an Astral could set up a team fight with the pickoff. Now the initiations are really on the shoulders of this Legion. So from the perspective of the Radiant, that's very predictable. Like, you know they're all committing as soon as you see that Legion duel. And if you could basically set up a good fight around the Legion duel that they initiate, then it's going to be a good fight for you. But does the Dire have good high ground defense? Perhaps once the PL gets his Ag Shard, they'll have good high ground defense, but it looks like it's good enough to push the Radiant back for now. Perhaps the Radiant makes the transition from top down to bottom, but the bottom lane's really pushing in for the Dire now. So I really think they just need to stick top, and they really need to force something. I'm looking at the Dire lineup and, like, the tools that they have, and, like, I'm not quite sure what the Radiant is so scared about. Like, oh man, see, just a minute ago, the PL had a Reaver and a Yasha, and now all of a sudden, PL has the trifecta: Diffusal, Manta, Heart of Tarask. And now he is a fighting force. And you notice as soon as they got that timing, they're now initiating a big Dream Coil on 3. The Lion is down, but they do get the TA, but that's only Aegis. There's the Monkey King ult. The OD is force-staffed out. They're trying to walk out of the Monkey King ult, but the Fiend's Grip on the OD pulling him down. Where's the and Phantom Assassin or Phantom Lancer is moving out. The Ogre dies too. The Lion buys back. And notice that the Dire hits their big timing. They got the trifecta, items on PL. They smoke and go, and it would have been a good fight. It would have been a really, really good fight. But the TA had the Aegis, which is gonna force Legion to bite back here. Lion missing the stun and now getting it reinitiated on is and the Puck just doesn't care and dives against the kill. But there's really no risk because the rest of the team is dead. There's gonna be a set of racks here. And the Dire has no response to this. They don't really care about the ranged rack the ranged racks it seems, but I mean, honestly, who cares about ranged racks anymore? But now that the Dire did get that Aegis, what's the Radiant gonna do here? They're gonna continue pushing? Are they gonna do another high ground push? I don't think they can, because if the Dire initiates the same way they did and they can take down the Templar Assassin just like they did, that might just be the team fight. Like PL, like the Radiant did not play fast enough during the window that they had, and now all of a sudden the PL has their items and they're smoking again. Like they know this is their timing. This is their timing. They're smoking. They're like go 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 go. They have Legion with blink in one item. Like look at this. Like this is all just like telegraphed. The TA not getting caught out though, but they do have the save for the PL. Monkey King canceling the ult. Oh my god, the Boundless Strike! Getting the Legion! Oh no! They might have had vision of the TA and they were trying to initiate on it, but it just... The TA was able to melt and escape the smoke play of the Dire. Which is soul crushing because the Dire... I mean, the fight they took in their jungle was a good fight, and that arguably was not a good fight. It was not as advantageous of a position. They did not have the vision to take that fight. As maybe a little overzealous, but the PL just got caught out with the Fiend's Grip, and this PL dies. Maybe game over. Does he have buyback? No buyback, and there's the good game. GG's. So the Radiant just had the draft that was able to get the game on their side and leverage that momentum. At the very, very, very end, the Dire were able to hit their item timings. They smoked, tried to make a comeback, and they did have the tools to take good team fights. We saw the team fight in the jungle where they got the Aegis from Templar Assassin, but just by nature of them having the Aegis, they were able to turn around, and ultimately, by the time the Dire got their items, were ready to fight, it was just too far gone.